Okay. Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Roche. We are working with Pente still, and we have to program a kind of a feature in this, in that we don't allow a first dark stone. The first dark stone move is to the center. That's like the rule of the game. But and the white piece, if I believe, can move here. That's fine. But the second dark stone move can't be here. It can't be here. Like, it can't be in any of these places here. It can't be in any part in this inner square. So we have to develop something that's going to prevent that move. After that, it doesn't really matter. It's just that apparently when you are the first player, taking advantage of the first player move, you have a distinct advantage in the game, even if the person puts it like here, because you can go like this, and then all of a sudden you're kind of set up more than the other person, for example. Okay, and that's a distinct advantage because you have sort of the second player on the run. So to alleviate that, what the rules say is that the first like light person move can be here, but the second dark move has to be somewhere outside of here. So it has to be in this range here. Okay, so that's a legal one. Light move lives here. Then like blue can do whatever it wants. That's actually a dumb move for blue. But anyway, that's sort of the deal. Okay. So so what we want to do is program that. Okay. So we're going to try to do that. Okay. I think I don't know what's going on here. Wow. We have to work on this too, because this suddenly now is showing up, and it's weird too. So the way to get going on this, I think, is to look at Pente game board and look where the board kind of makes moves. Okay, so in the constructor, okay, there's a part where we make all the board pieces, right? And this belongs to this, and this belongs to this, and this is like the second loop one. It should be like more like here. So this is all part of this loop of just creating board squares. That's what it's doing, right? Okay. Initial Pente does something here, which is actually kind of good. Let me see what initial Pente. This sets up like the board look. Okay, so that's actually not going to help us. Okay, but what happens is that maybe like in start new game, we need to. I think this is where everything sort of happens. This is where player one sets the first. The dark stone gets set here. Okay, in this this start new game part. Okay. So I'm down at the bottom of this, okay? Okay, and this resets the board right here. And then what we do is we place the first stone, okay? Okay, and then the game sort of begins, okay? So what I'm proposing that we do is we have to make a variable for this, okay? So we're going to go like this and make a, I don't know, like a private Boolean, right? And we're going to call it, I don't know, something. We can call it, I don't know, dark stone move to taken. Okay, I got this like big long variable name. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set to false because we don't want that to happen just yet. Okay. Okay, so and this happens like just right in the beginning of the game. Okay, so we don't have to do a whole lot for this, but I need something that sets this up. Okay, so in the beginning when I make my constructor, Okay, or in my constructor when I'm doing this, this is the, or I'm going to make a variable for this, right? Okay. I'm going to set it equal to false because you know, like we'll go with it until somebody tells us like that they've actually taken the move. Okay. So in the game board here, right, or start new game 2. This is another place where you would sort of set this. Okay, so what happened is here is that they took the player turn. We set the dark square to here. Okay, so this sets the dark square in the center. Yeah, never see. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're also going to go like this. I'm going to use this variable because I know at this point it's the dark square move hasn't happened yet. Okay, and then you change the player turn. Okay, so now it's white person's move, right? And what's happening is they do like a click. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, so then what happens here is if the square, like this is where we all do a clicking check, right? Okay, and then what we have to do is figure out, right? Like at this point, if there's a dark square, right? And figure out if it's like legal for them to do this and whatever, right? Okay. So we could make a kind of a second thing, right? Or something to check this, right? Yeah, and basically we're kind of looking at what's happening, right? Okay. So what we're going to do is add some code here that's going to allow this to handle like the move, okay, the second move. And then in looking at this, what we're doing is we're doing this kind of logic that says basically you go and see if you clicked on a square. Comes back. If you clicked on a square, then we basically know what row and column we're talking about here, right? So then we can look and see if the state is empty, okay? And that's actually like probably the bigger condition. So you look and see if it's empty, and then I think we have to do one more check here. Okay, so we're going to have to do something here, it looks like to me. Okay. And our options are to write a big if then, like right here, or try to move it into another, you know, another like routine, okay? And maybe it makes sense to do it here, okay? So let's think about that. So we might say, the only problem this occurs to is we have to figure out when this happens. Okay, so if there's a dark square problem, we have to kind of check it, right? And we have to figure out how that would happen, right? And if there's no dark square problem, we just let this player turn happen. Okay, that'd be one way to do this. Let's see. We'll try to see if that makes the most sense. But that's what we're looking at right now. Okay. And the question is if there's a dark square problem, right? So, looking this over, it might make sense to kind of make this a separate thing because it's going to get kind of codey. Okay, so I might go like this. I might make a routine that explains whether it's a dark square problem. Okay, and it's going to return like true or false. I'm going to make this up, okay? I haven't made it yet, so I'm going to get an error for this, okay? So I might write it like this. I might say if it's false, then do this. Okay, then do this. If everything else is okay, then do this. Otherwise, and since I keep all my messages here, we would let them click again, but we'd do a message dialog here, something like that. Okay. So, and you would say something like, you'd have to say something like second. Outside of the light square. Okay, very detail-y. It's going to be one of those things, okay? And so we're going to have to write a thing called dark square problem to determine whether we have a dark square problem or not, okay? And what I like about this right now is that we're not changing our basic idea of how and where we set rows and things like that, right? Okay, things like that. So that's good, okay? So this thing's going to be, I'm going to make a thing called public Boolean. It's going to turn back yes or no. Dark square problem. Okay? And what does it need to know to make that decision? It probably has to get sent the row and the column, right? And we have the player turn, like we have it. It's like a class variable, so we can just kind of use that. So we can find that. Okay. So then we're gonna have to send it an int r and an int c, and that's awesome. Okay. Dark square problem, public boolean dark square problem. Oh, and it has to return a boolean. So so I might make a boolean like right here, called dark square problem DSP, and then at the end I'm going to return DSP. So no matter what happens, it's like this. And I might say, and I'm going to kind of assume it's false. Okay, and then that will like figure that out. Okay, and then sort of the smarter way to write this is to go, or well, not smarter. It's like the cooler Java way to write this is to go if it's not a dark square problem, like that. Okay, then you set the player turn. So what happens is this doesn't. What's good about this is that it keeps our messages all in one place, which is good. Okay, and then for like air, so it kind of keeps airing in one place. Okay, it allows you to double click on a stone. It allows you to also then further that, okay, once that happens, okay? So this is sort of a good way to kind of handle this. And then all we need to do is program something that will identify dark square problems. Dark square problems. And then, okay, so that's what we're going to do in the next video. I'll stop this and get this up there too.